More content is releasing that pushes identity politics and virtue signaling over entertaining consumers, which never goes well. I can't think of one film that's done better than expected or amazing that focused on pushing narratives over giving audiences a good product. In the recent release of She Said, a journalism procedural drama about two feminists trying to take down Harvey Weinstein, has proven yet again content like this doesn't entertain viewers because it is now being deemed one of the worst box office flops in history. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is a MovieWeb article. It says She Said is one of the biggest box office flops in history. Despite rave reviews, the film She Said's opening weekend box office numbers are cripplingly low. Despite the rave reviews and the critical acclaim that the Universal Pictures film She Said received prior to release, the movie's box office numbers are appallingly low. The film went up against some anticipated heavy hitters for its launch, giving it stiff competition. The film only made $2.2 million on its opening weekend, making it one of the worst box office studio releases in history. Now, when I had heard this news, I didn't actually know what this movie was about because I had heard absolutely nothing about it. I saw no talk on social media. I saw no trailers or teasers. There was zero marketing around this film, but apparently this movie was expected to do very well. It says fans are not flocking to theaters to see the film, and audiences this holiday season may not want to watch realism portrayed on the big screen. Instead, films that offer escapism are faring well. The #1 film is the superhero movie Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, followed by the comedic horror thriller The Menu. Now, this movie, as it says, follows a real-life storyline that, as it says, unfortunately, does not seem to be a draw for most audience members. This is a movie about Harvey Weinstein, but it's not just a movie about, the things he did. It is about the journalism side of everything that happened. It's about two female journalists who are trying to deep dive into Harvey's backstory. They are trying to find out information, and that sounds like one of the most boring films I have ever heard of. Obviously, what Harvey Weinstein did was disgusting. But to have a movie about the journalists simply doing their job just doesn't sound very entertaining. The problem with this film, though, is that it really wasn't made for us. It's not made for people to be entertained while learning about a situation that happened. It was only really created so these journalists can make their profession look good and make them feel better about themselves. So we might think these people are brave for, writing articles about this topic. The theme in this film is the Me Too movement, but the movement is dead at this point, and so many people have changed their minds on it after the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. She used her gender as a shield so she looked innocent, and she used this movement for her own gain, and it backfired on her. Now we know that she was an abuser, and she simply hated Johnny for sticking up for himself and not lying down when she wanted to force him down. But now movies just like this about the entire movement are releasing, and they are doing terribly. This movie isn't even going to make its budget back at this rate. I mean, it cost $32 million to make, with only 2.5 at this point being earned. There is just no way that it is going to make returns for them, and it doesn't deserve to. This is a terrible movie to make, and I personally, like many other people, do like watching movies and TV shows that tell a story based on something that happened in real life, but the way that they created this just isn't good. It's not going to do well anywhere. It's not going to do well on a Netflix, on a Hulu. It's not going to do good in theaters. No one is going to pay money to watch this garbage. It says the star-studded cast of She Said features Carey Mulligan, Zoe Kazan, and Patricia Clarkson, and is directed by Maria Schrader. The script follows a storyline that doesn't seem to be very entertaining for people. It says other female-led storylines, such as this year's release of Wonder Woman 84, have bombed. Disney's Turning Red animated feature about a young girl going through puberty also failed miserably at the box office. The numbers reflect a polarizing shift, indicating that moviegoers might not be interested in watching heroines struggle. I don't necessarily think that that is the case. I just think that with these two films, the storylines were not good and they didn't actually market them properly. Because look at Turning Red. It is a kids' movie. It was rated for kids. It was supposed to be an allegory, as it says, for a woman facing her period, a young girl going through puberty. It wasn't marketed for women my age. I wouldn't have went and watched it, and also parents didn't want to bring their kids to see it, so it didn't really settle well with anybody specific. And then you have something like Wonder Woman 1984 that completely did away with the source material. They went in a crazy new direction, and it was a massive downgrade from the first film. But with this movie, I don't think that it had a chance at the box office, even if it wasn't going against something like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, or The Menu. I think that if you would have released this on its own on a weekend, it still would have done terribly. Usually when movies like this release and they bomb, the creatives will go on social media and attack critics. They haven't yet, but I'm sure they will at some point. But like I mentioned, I enjoy watching movies and shows that tell real stories. But number one, this isn't meant for entertainment value. It was created solely to pat journalists on the back for doing their jobs. And two, I don't need a movie to tell me Harvey Weinstein is a garbage human being and I'm not going to pay to see it. I don't think you have to, be a good journalist to figure out that he was taking advantage of women. And even if a lot of them dramatized their experiences with him to cash in on the movement and the allegations against him, he clearly did hurt women, and there is truth to his actions. It seems like half of Hollywood knew what he was doing, yet said nothing until it was convenient for them, which is another reason why you shouldn't have any respect for these actors. But as you can see, this movie is a massive failure. It's doing terribly, and there's no way that it's going to make its budget back. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.